right, I think we're good now. It says we're live. Yep, it says here we're live. Okay. Let me just move this bar real quick and we can get started. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 12:05 p.m. and we'll begin with roll call. Since Frances is not here, I'll do it for her instead. I'm here. Chris?
Here.
Christina?
Here.
Louise?
Here.
Alex?
Here.
Jasmine?
Here.
Kelly?
Here. Here.
Emmanuel?
Present.
Kyle?
Here.
David?
Here.
All right, we've established quorum. We'll be moving on to preliminary item A, acknowledgement of native land. Before we conduct any business, I'd like to acknowledge that we are conducting business on native land of the Hahamanga tribe and offer a moment of silence for those who came before us. Moving on to preliminary item C, approval of agenda for August 5th, 2020. Before we approve the agenda, we need to strike preliminary item D, approval of minutes, because Frances sent me a message saying that she wasn't able to get the meetings for this meeting, for that meeting. But other than that, if you guys see anything else that needs to be changed or updated, let me know.
Hey, Mackenzie, I can't see the agenda.
I should be sharing my screen.
You're just sharing the Zoom screen. There you go.
Okay.
Oh. And can you make it larger? Can you just blow it up?
Sure. How do I do that?
At the bottom, there's a magnifying glass. Page 1 and page 2, just hit the plus button.
There we go.
There we go. Good, excellent.
If there's nothing else that needs to be changed for the agenda, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the noted changes.
I move approval.
I second.
Second.
All right, first by David, second by Emmanuel. I'm going to move it to a vote. Chris?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Louise?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Jasmine?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Emmanuel?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to public comment on non-agenda items. I believe do we have any members of the public who would like to speak?
There is nothing on the YouTube channel.
And moving on to introductions and reports, beginning with board reports, and I'll start off based off what I see on my screen. So Louise, you get to go first.
Sorry, I'm talking to my phone. My board report is that Alex and I met to discuss Welcome Week ideas, and I'm sure he'll go more into that in his report.
Thank you. Christina?
I have nothing to report at this time.
Kyle?
So since our last meeting, I worked on the policy for the committees, which I submitted late, which will be next meeting's action item.
Thank you. Emmanuel?
Yeah, I just wanted to report that I had the opportunity to attend that anti-racism conference, just in hopes to be able to learn a bit more through people who experience racism. And I thought it was a really great opportunity, and definitely want to bring some more awareness to college representation in equity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jasmine?
Yeah, so a few things I wanted to report. I did attend a Project Rebound webinar for all the statewide programs that promote reentry. So that's one thing, and I got connected with someone from the SSCCC, that's the Student Senate for Community College Councils. And then I also attended the town hall listening tour that had a few of has a representative from PCC that I want to collaborate with on creating an advisory board or joining an advisory board for the SSCCC. So that's something I do want to bring up to discussion. And I did also attend the A2Men anti-racism webinar that I feel is very vital to learning and listening and unlearning of what the biases and prejudices we have systemically on a systemic level. So that's all I want to report.
Great, thank you, Jasmine. Chris?
So a lot of stuff on ICC. Obviously, I've been sending out emails weekly. The last email sent out on Monday is asking people if they wanted to go ahead and participate in their Club Rush in addition to re-registering their club on Lands for Life. So things are going along on that front. Besides Club Rush, I'm also working with Jordan Carey closely on getting the virtual ICC retreat training up because that will be happening on Canvas this time around. So also working hard on that. In addition to that, also working on approving things in Lands for Life and adjusting some settings in Lands for Life to make it accessible and getting all the forms up and stuff like that. So that's what I have. And yeah.
Great, thank you, Chris. Alex?
Like Louis said, I met with her to talk about Welcome Week ideas, then again with Carrie and her to talk more in detail. We have a basic outline of what we want to do, but we also wanted to wait until the policy regarding our budget was like formed, and then as well as we wanted to get your input, which I will bring back up in discussion item B.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Kelly?
Yeah, so this past week, I've been working on creating like a dual event, maybe having voter registration and also Constitution Day on the same day, because we would think that it would probably garner more attention than separating those two events. And then I've also been contacting the local community colleges, their external affairs directors and their presidents to try to see how we can move forward in this pandemic era.
Great, thank you, Kelly. David?
So I think it was last week, there was a legislative board of trustees meeting committee. And we discussed the legislative priorities of the district, and they were taking a look at Prop 16 and 15. And so they're expected to release a resolution in support at the next board of trustees meeting. And they were also taking a look at a legislation that makes it a requirement to take ethnic studies, like one course mandatory for all CSU students. So that was also something that they were taking a look at and the implications. And also at the next board of trustee meetings, they're going to be approving the school year budget. So that's something that we should definitely take a look at. I also just sent out an email with Leanne Flashberg from Human Resources to set up an EEO training for all of you guys so that you guys can sit on the hiring committees for this year. Also had a meeting with Alex Buckhide and Candace Jones to follow up on everything that we discussed at our last business meeting. And most of what we talked about was a PCC website and making it more accessible to students and easier for us to make changes that we need to make.
All right, thank you, David. I believe, is there anyone that I missed? No. All right. Moving on to my own report. First, thank you all for keeping so busy and keeping up all the work. I'm looking forward to everything that everyone has going on. I've been in contact with several staff members on some committees that they want some student representatives for. We'll be doing those appointments later on in the agenda, but we have about 13 committees that we need to be putting some students on. And so it looks like our board reports are going to start getting bigger now. We'll have more things to actually report on. Besides that, that's all that I have for my own report. Moving on to financial reports. We don't have one right now. Moving on to advisor reports. Advisors, do you have anything you would like to say?
Sure, I'll go. Just so you know, right now, Dean Cobb is not well. She's sick. She had an allergic reaction, so she won't be joining us today. Couple things. A lot's been going on. Like Chris said, we're trying to chart a new path in how we do Club Week. A lot of it's going to involve online work. It's going to be part of a Canvas shell. So again, we may come to you all and ask you to kind of be beta testers and run through it. Also, and I think Chris is going to hit you all up to help run this. I think as we get closer and closer to actual programming, I think it's going to be a different year than in years past. I think we're all going to have to kind of be much more interconnected and supporting each other on some of this because there's a lot more work to get done. So there's that. As David said, the EEO training, we need to get you all trained. The big position that's coming up is that they are currently forming the committee for the Chief Diversity Officer. And I would really appreciate, I'm gonna hope that we can get at least 2 students to sit on that. And at this point also, if you think, I know some of you were on committees and some of you had committees. If anyone has another student who they think is pretty reliable, that we want to get them trained, because at a certain point you all are going to be tapped out in terms of hiring. So if you know someone else, please contact David, because it looks like he's running point on getting that worked out. So let's get those folks in. Meetings with me, the last couple of weeks I have been in Zoom trainings, 40-hour Zoom training for domestic violence, 20-hour training for student conduct. It's been a real long time, so I really haven't had a lot of time to do much else because being on Zoom for 4 hours a day kind of fries your mind. So I'd like to get back to meeting with all of you. I don't know, and I know that now that school is over, I'm hoping that we can establish meetings that we can hold for the whole semester, but I also realize a lot of you have not gotten your class schedule. So I'm going to put a doodle out, and basically worked out last time, just sign up for the time that you want. And we'll go ahead and meet, and let's see if we can get some meetings in, mainly because what we need to get going is we need to get a budget. Monetary policy and financial policy is changing rapidly. Sharon's probably going to share a lot of that with you. They are changing, it's upending itself from what we used to know in the past to what they would like to see now for the future. And part of that is that you will be required to pass a tentative budget that encompasses from July 1st to June 30th. So part of that will require that you start thinking about what budget you need. And then Mackenzie, you and I are going to have to meet, and we're going to have to flesh this budget out sooner rather than later, because we really can't spend on stuff until we get that going. So, and you've got some welcome week things that need to be purchased, swag and whatnot. So there's that. So when you get the doodle, please go ahead and fill it in. And right now I'm just sending it all to your ASPCC Gmail accounts. I've stopped using the Canvas accounts unless you all tell me you'd rather go to Canvas. I can do either one, or I can do both and spam you all. Let me know what you all care for. And then the last thing is, Mackenzie, you and I will have to talk as well, but I think Frances right now, she's agreed to temporarily fill in as your secretary, starts classes at UCLA either this week or next week. And so that kind of impacts her time schedule and her time frame. So we might have to discuss about altering the time and the flow of when you submit items. And I think, Kyle, I heard you say that you need to submit an item. Technically, the way anyone submits an item to make it on the agenda is that it should be sent addressed to Mackenzie and CC'd to the secretary, Frances, because Mackenzie's the chair and she gets to dictate what goes on the agenda. So if you have something that needs to go on, please make sure you send it to her. And other than I feel you all, I'm dragging. It's been hard. It's been hard. So hang in there. I feel you all. So I'm gonna pass that over to Jordan.
Hi everyone. So good to see your faces. I hope you all are doing well. taking this time to relax. So the first thing is, I know you all have probably heard, there was a massive explosion in Beirut, Lebanon yesterday. I have a lot of friends that are Lebanese, and so it's been in contact with them to see if they have any family back there. But if you can either get the word out, donate, there's a lot of emergency relief funds. Make sure you sift through the fake ones, obviously, to see if there's any way you can help. Even just spreading the word is really great. There was about, I think 70 lives that were lost so far, and there's about 3,000 that were injured. So the video is, it's very devastating. So I know, just spread the word, get that out. Second thing, as Chris and Carrie had set up, we're working on getting trainings up for the ICC retreat, getting videos, editing them as quickly as we can. So that way by fall, we can have a really good model in for clubs and organizations. Stuff like how clubs and organizations are going to function. We're modeling off of Springs AS and kind of what they did for events and stuff. So we're working on that very diligently. And I got to hand it to Chris. He's doing a really, really awesome job getting all this stuff together, just being up to date with everything. So yeah, that's that. The second thing is I also start school on the 22nd. So I will have less time to, besides my work hours, to be doing stuff. After work, I'll be focusing more on school. So if there's anything that you need, just make sure you let me know as soon as possible. I'll let you know kind of my time frames of when the time gets closer, of when you need to let me know when things need to be organized, when you need to contact me, or when we can meet. My hours got extended on Wednesdays, so I'll have a little bit more time for you all on Wednesdays, and also to help carry out with anything that she needs with AS and OSL stuff. So just let me know when you want that available. Other than that, yeah, it's good to see you all.
Thank you, Jordan. I know, so we have lovely Miss Sharon here. If you wanted to say to the group, you can say it now.
Okay, my name is Miss Sharon, and I am the bookkeeper for your board, AS board. And I just want to talk to you guys the importance of doing a budget. Right now, I know you don't have your VP for your business support person. That's the person I will work with. But it's very important that we get this budget established, because things have changed from over the previous years. Things are more strict now. We gotta have everything done in order. All contracts has to be approved by the Vice President, I believe, Mr. Bush. Contracts that you give vendors that's going to perform, they have to sign service agreements. We have to have invoices now on everything we do. So we need to make sure that we stay in line with the procedures that they're going to establish for us. And we are still working on those procedures. But the main thing we need is a budget. If we don't show them that we have a budget, we won't be able to spend the money. So we need to sit down and sit with someone and create your budget, because the budget helps you with your event planning. It helps you maintain your dollars, your expenses from your credit, your debits and credits. It keeps you in line with everything. And it will let you know if you're able to hold the event and how much it would cost to hold the event. So each event that you plan on campus or off campus, you should have an itemized budget, and it needs to be approved. I would suggest that any type of budget should get approved within 6 weeks of prior to the event. So it's very important that we have a budget established for AS as soon as possible. And each of you will have your own separate budgets once your business support person is elected. Or Mackenzie, she will help you establish your budget for each VP. Because I hear you talking about Welcome Week. We need to, before we could make any decision to go buy things for Welcome Week, we need a budget. And we need to work with Dean Cobb to get the dollar amount. So it's very important that we do have budgets established whenever you plan any particular event on campus or off campus, and make sure we get all the proper paperwork dealing with each event. At least about 6 weeks ahead of time. So things here at PCC have really changed. So Just be patient and we'll get things processed for you as soon as possible. Okay? If you have any other questions, my office is CC 105. My number is 626-585-3116. You can call me anytime. I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon, for that.
You're welcome.
Report. All right. Moving on to shared governance discussion. If anybody had any questions about anything anyone reported, now is the time you can speak up and ask any questions or make any comments. I'll give you all seconds if you have anything to say.
Just a quick kind of question, I guess. If I want to join a committee that I'm interested in, just email the chair, right? I think that's been the procedure ever.
Mackenzie would have to approve you on this at a meeting. So like when you're being assigned to a college-wide committee, you would have to be appointed.
Okay.
As an AS representative.
So do I email the chair or does Mackenzie email?
No, you let Mackenzie know what committee you want to be on. She'll make the assignment and then you can decide who's going to notify the chair, who's the member. But the first step is Mackenzie has to approve you.
Okay, got it.
Did anyone have anything else that they wanted to ask or say?
Oh wait, sorry. One more question.
Okay.
If I was on a committee from last year, do I have to be reapproved for this year too?
I believe you do. Carrie.
Okay.
Yep.
I had a question in regards to budgeting. Do we have something to like project? Do we have to have something like an Excel sheet to project what we think our costs will look like? And how do we I guess my question is that what's the best way to start that to see how much we're going to project for fall?
If I have the magic ball, so normally in a good year, in a year where we are physically in space, I would pull out last year's budget and say, here it is. But this year, everything's in flux. Everything is up in the air. We probably will still use something similar to what we did last year. I did confirm with Dean Cobb that she is committed to giving you the same amount of money you all had last year, which is $100,000. So that is very generous, $100,000, and she's still willing to give ICC $80,000. So that's really exciting. But probably let's discuss this because we are out of order. We're doing questions when we're not allowed to under action item 5A. We'll discuss a little bit further there, okay?
Did anybody else have any comments or discussion for the item shared governance discussion? If we don't have anything else, then we can move on. Okay, hearing nothing, we're moving on to action item A, policy working groups, brought to us by Carrie. Carrie, the floor is yours.
You're muted.
There.
I'm muted. I'm just yelling really loud and it's not working. So, okay. So what I want to do is, as Sharon has alluded to, there are changes afoot, and especially having to do with COVID. There is a book called FCMAT, and don't ask me what it stands for. It's something Federal Crisis Management something. It is a book that is a set of guidelines issued for K through 14 on how to administer budgets. It is very heavy on the K through 12 section and very light on the 12 to 14 section. It limits what you can do if you read it literally. And what we're trying to do, but what we need to do is we need to write some policy, because right now you don't have any policy on how you can spend your money, because we've never been challenged in the way that we have been in the past. This was coming, but like a lot of things, the Rona forced us to action now. We probably would have done something later on next year had we been in person. So I think, as I explained before, what I'd really like is I need a policy working group. And I'd like to keep it to 5 students or less, Mackenzie being one of them, because at that point, I think if I have 5, I need 5, yeah, because at that point we don't have quorum issues. But really, actually, probably even just three of you, 3 or 4 of you max, just to write some policy. So what I'm talking about writing policy is FCMAT says that if AS has established policy, that they must adhere to established policy. So remember that whole thing that we talked about, gift of public funds, which, you know, is a good thing, right? Because we don't want to give away taxpayer money. But when we start looking at things like saying we want to give a raffle for, and we want to reward, incentivize student participation. Incentivized student participation looks very suspiciously like gift of public funds. So if we write a policy that says this is how AS is allowed to spend their money, these are the deadlines, these are the intent that all of these funds must be spent for, and we adopt it within our own code, then therefore when people say to you, this is, you're spending your money incorrectly, we can say, no, we're following our own established policy. Okay, so I'm looking for 3, possibly 4 of you who want to help me write this. And part of this will also involve the budgets. This year we acknowledge it's a crazy year. And so honestly, I don't really know how we're going to do budgets. I think we probably look at a very flexible model that assigns money to categories and that allows you all to be kind of co-owners of all those categories. So that way we can make things work. But that's also something we can discuss in the policy group. So what I'm looking for, I would like to have 3, possibly 4 folks, and because this is an action item, we'll need to put the names out there. And technically the way it works is you can nominate someone, you can nominate yourself. The person who's nominated needs to accept, and we'll put the name up there and you can vote to make those folks part of this group. So Mackenzie, I'll let you do the workings of that. And does anyone have questions? Because under action items, now we're allowed to have questions. It's FCMAT, FCMAT. It is something crisis management. Everyone knows it. If you go FCMAT, you can be able to look it up. It's also known as the Blue Book. Any other questions from you all? Time commitment is probably 4 to 6 hours.
Should we probably leave 1 seat open for the business affairs person? Because I feel like this is going to be their, well, major responsibility.
We need to actually write these things in the next 2 weeks.
Oh.
Like this is not something that can wait, because at a certain, it's going to cripple you. You're not going to be able to do the things you want to do for Welcome Week. Thank you, Jordan. Any other questions, you all?
So by policy, you mean like we're going to work out a procedure, like we're going to budget stuff and we're going to send it to somebody and then it becomes approved. Like that's what.
So by definition, policy is kind of something that's evergreen. It's a broad enough framework that people could follow it. It gives guidance. It gives guideposts on which you can operate. It does not tell you to stick to a certain line, but it dictates what you can do and it dictates what you can't do. And the space in between allows you to run your business. That's good policy. It should be evergreen, meaning it's always there. It's always good. And you shouldn't be too specific, because when you're too specific, it hampers your policy.
If we don't have any other questions for Carrie, then I'll go ahead and nominate myself to be part of this working group. Anybody else want to do that?
Myself.
I would like to nominate myself.
So Mackenzie, you get to pick. I heard who else?
I heard Chris. I heard Jasmine. I know there was another voice. I can't tell who it was though.
I nominate myself too.
That voice was David.
And there was another female voice. So it's helpful if you say, this is Carrie, I'm saying yes.
So I got down 4 names that I heard. So besides myself, there was Christina, David, Jasmine, and then Chris. So that would
Mackenzie, Chris, Jasmine, Christina, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. And with David, that's 5, and David's fine. We can do that.
Okay, all right. So that's the cap, right? We don't want any more students anymore. That. Okay. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the policy working group with myself, Christina, David, Chris, and Jasmine.
I second.
Or I move approval of that policy group.
Okay, so we have technically first by David and second by Chris. All right, we're gonna bring this to a vote. I'm gonna do it based on who I see on my screen. Christina.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Emmanuel.
Aye.
Jasmine.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Louise.
Aye.
All right, motion passes by unanimous. All right, moving on to discussion items. Discussion item A, ICC planning, which is brought to us by Chris. Chris, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So I've been working extensively with Carrie and Jordan. Again, thank you all, advisors, for your help on this, about planning for the virtual club rush you're going to be having. And the reason why I wanted to put this item is to share a little bit of the timeline that I created for this event and a little bit of what it's going to look like and the progress I've made so far. So I'm going to share my screen if that's okay.
Okay. I'll stop sharing my screen.
So I've reached milestone 1 of kind of the timeline I made for myself, which is to send Michael a bunch of materials so he can start creating a rough draft of the website for us, and to kind of sample how it's going to look like. And I put all those files in the Google Drive folder, and I can share this with you if you're interested, kind of, proposals of what the website layout should look like, kind of the copy of it, kind of a little filler text. As you can see, some people already made comments on that. And Carrie uploaded some photos, or there should be photos, but maybe they're not there yet. But that's where I'm at with milestone 1, trying to pretty much gather all the materials together. And the next step, milestone 2, which we're currently on, is to go ahead and send out invitations to clubs, which I did Monday. So I've had 5 clubs sign up so far, I believe, that have said yes, and they've re-registered on Lancer Life through that process. So I'm putting them down on a separate mailing list to let them know about any updates to when Zoom meetings are and the links to those Zoom meetings and whatnot. But now I'm adding this agenda item because I want to field interest from you all to try and help hold some of these Zoom sessions that we're having. And again, if you need a background on what these Zoom sessions are and why we're doing it, let me know. But I think I explained it last time. It's going to be one web page that we're going to have, and it's going to be pre-recorded Zoom sessions or panels. And an officer, me, or one of you, if you're interested, is going to run those panels. So pretty much I'm feeling interest. Currently, so far, we're breaking it down into terms of these categories right here: STEM, business, industry, health sciences, and wellness, liberal arts. Here, let me make this bigger. Social media. So we're breaking it down into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories. Just as like a preliminary breakdown, not only because this is what we kind of feel a lot of clubs have fallen into, but also because this falls into the premise of career communities, which is something that Carrie was really promoting throughout this process. And we talked with Sheila about this too during a separate meeting. So I would like at least, most of the board to help out running one of those panels. just so that I'm not running all of them, and that so that there's variety and students get to know, which AS members are, and you can all kind of get involved with clubs that are a particular interest to your work with AS. So I know I've talked a lot here. Are there any questions or any concerns or anything that needs clarification?
So if we're helping you host these panels, is there like a certain format you want us to follow for these? So we're all doing like the same thing, or how do you want us to go about it?
Yeah, so the Zoom panels are going to be structured in a very particular way. I mean, I'm going to definitely allow some freedom if you think there can be, I guess, better ways of doing the panels, but I'm going to email clubs in 5 days, just as a reminder. I think that's Monday too. Yeah, and then the next Monday email, asking them to create a slideshow for their club. If they have any pictures of past events or any bullet points they want to show to students, they can pull that up and share their screen during the Zoom meeting. And we'll let them do that for about a minute or two. And then after that, I think the last minute and a half that they have during the panel, we're going to have them answer some pre-made questions. And I'm going to send these questions out to them on Monday. It's like on TV, if you ever seen like interviews being done, sometimes those people that are being interviewed are sent the questions in advance so that they can prepare a response and so that things move along quicker. So that's what I plan to do in next month, was to send them these questions and say, we're going to ask you these questions. So make a scripted response or whatever you feel comfortable with. But keep it brief so that we can have as many clubs in that session as possible. So it's pretty structured in that, yeah, they're going to have a slideshow, they're going to have scripted questions, and you're going to ask those scripted questions, but I'm leaving it up to you all, kind of the creativity right here, this last bullet point here. You can ask maybe 1 or 2 questions that you best feel is tailored to your area of interest. I guess like if you're like Jasmine, for example, and you're community diversity, you can ask, what culture does your club focus on, and what cultural, highlights do you want to present to students? So some customized question like that, that you can ask them. So it's going to run like that. Are there any questions? I think, did I answer your question, Mackenzie, or?
Yeah, that answered my question.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Given that we're gonna follow kind of like the website that we got last time, will we also be receiving training kind of like on Zoom? Because I know that we're probably going to be recording on Zoom these sessions, and I know it's like a lot of it is like pinning the video and making sure everything is being recorded, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I think I need to add to this kind of timeline that I have here too. I think that's a good idea. I'll make sure to do that. And I think in addition to receiving training for how to operate Zoom recordings and making sure it's consistent from each session to each session, I'll be present during a Zoom meeting. I might not speak during the entire duration, but I guess I can be there for technical help or for moderation. So that I'm there and I'm present as ICC chair, but then you as AS members are pretty much running that meeting primarily. So let me put that here.
I have a question. So I heard you mention Sheila and the career communities. Is there some kind of assessment that we will be providing the students for them to choose their preferred club, or is it just based on those few questions that are there?
So this is a good question. So these questions are going to be sent after they've said, yes, I want to sign up for Club Rush. So it's not going to be they answer these questions and we sort them into categories based on these questions. The way it's going to work is that they're going to say, yes, I want to sign up for Club Rush. They put down the email address of whoever's going to attend so I can send them the Zoom invite. But we're going to sort the clubs that are interested into categories. So we're going to do that process.
Okay.
Carrie and I were debating whether to go ahead and have clubs self-select which category they've best, but we kind of reached a conclusion that we don't know how many people are going to attend. So to be fair and to kind of, have as have a good amount of clubs be in each video, we've decided that we're going to sort it for them and they're not going to self-sort. So that's the way it's going to go. Of course, things may change, you know, again, because I don't know how many people are going to attend. So those categories that we have are kind of tentative. Hopefully we get enough responses that we can fill each one of those categories. But at this point, I don't know. That's been kind of the theme for this entire year is we don't know. So to be on the safe side, we're doing that process for them.
So just to confirm, this is in a partnership with the Career Community Committee?
We're sharing the concept of career communities, but it's not necessarily a collaborative event. Carrie informed me that this is kind of the direction that the entire campus is going with this theme of career communities, and I wanted to kind of honor that. So that's why I've decided on these categories right here to create. And I think besides that, Sheila also during the meeting, and I think maybe if you all want, I can share this information with you. She was presenting to us that she actually already did the work of sorting each club into a category, in the career community category. So we are going to go ahead and pretty much do the selection based off of our experiences, but what Sheila's work has already done for us.
Thanks.
Yeah, she has a spreadsheet, and then like next to each club's name, it's like they best fit into this category, this category, this category. So that's what that sheet looked like.
Right on. Thank you.
So with that said, are there any other questions about this process? I know it's just it's like a heavy backpack, you know, like I have this and then I have ICC training to think about. So I might not be covering all my bases and assuming you all know what I'm talking about. So again, if there's any clarification that's needed, feel free to reach out or to ask.
So as for us helping you with hosting these panels, do you already have set times that you wanted to do, or is it based off like, how are we gonna like line up set like timings for us, our availability, and then the club that will be like?
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mention that. That is definitely important to know. So the timeline for this, do I have it here? No, I don't. Okay, but let me pull this out real quick and look at the date that I have set. So this week is going to be when invitations are sent out. Next week is going to be sending out those pre-made questions to clubs. And the week after that, or on Friday, the 14th of next week is when signups close. So filming will take place from the week of August 17th through 21st. So 2 weeks from now. And during that week, I've told clubs or the club representative that's going to be there for the filming to be available within the hours of 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So I told them to be available during that time. I don't have a set date of when they can come to speak yet, just because I haven't processed all the submissions yet. But I think if you're interested in doing this, yes, please be available from the 17th through 21st between that hour, so that you can be there to run the panel.
All right, thank you.
And to kind of extend that timeline and be more specific, after we're filming, I'm going to send a copy of those recordings to Michael Eric and David Steinman, who are the web administrators and the content managers for videos respectively. So they can go ahead and process those videos, subtitle them, get all the necessary interface work done. So they will have a week to do that. We'll have a week after that when school starts and things are crazy. So I don't want to bother them. That's why I gave them a week before school started to kind of focus on ICC and on the ICC website. And then the full website of when these videos will go out is going to be the second week of school. So that's kind of the rest of the timeline fleshed out. So yeah, as you can see here, the 24th is when I'm going to send materials, and then I'm going to send recordings and stuff to David and Michael. So that's what I have. So with that said, with the fact that I'm going to place you all into one of these categories, and I think maybe it'd be best if you feel you can choose one that best fits you, and the time commitment that's required, which is the 17th through the 21st. I just want to go ahead and see if I can get some names in to fill in for this, for running these panels. So I'll do that now. This isn't an action item, so it can just be casual, like, hey, I want to volunteer, participate. So there's no pressure or anything.
Can I volunteer for business and industry?
Sure. Christina.
Can I help out with social clubs?
And do you want just one of us for each of these, or do you want to do like pairs or?
I want to get at least one for each before I move on to doubling up.
Can I help with social and behavioral sciences?
Okay. Yeah, left.
I can help with health sciences and wellness or STEM or both.
And I can help out with art, communication, and design.
I can help with liberal arts.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I have a full involvement in this. I really do appreciate that because it is a lot, but you know, things are new and I appreciate you all pitching in. But are there any last questions before I move along? Now that I have these names down, I'll go ahead and send out any necessary emails or information about training or what to do or anything else. So, but are there any other questions about what I've outlined so far? Or, I mean, this is ICC planning. So if there's any other questions about like the rest of ICC, I can answer those too. No, yes.
I have a question. I know given that we are doing like kind of like this type of club rush, how are students going to sign up to, you know, be like interested in the club? Because usually they would like go to the booth and like write their email and stuff.
Right, so let me pull up a sample Lancer Live page real quick here. And put that back in. So what we'll do is, let me go back to these sketches that I made here. This isn't final, but the idea is we're going to, let me zoom in. It's going to be like a page and then they can kind of either scroll or click or whatever, but we're going to ideally have a button next to the list of participants that's going to go to their Lancer Live page. And what their Lancer Live page looks like, it's going to be something like this. It has all their contact information on it, their social medias and whatnot. But students can then just click this blue join button as long as they're signing to their Lancer Point ID. And then they will basically be a part of that club in their mailing list and their members list. So that's how it will be presented to students. It will be like a half and half thing. We're doing half of the work on our website. We're doing the other half on Lancer Live. So we're putting the videos up on our website, but the links that students will click on to learn more will go to their Lancer Live page.
This is more of like a personal question, but I think it's going to be necessary and beneficial to have it on the record for everybody. It's more along the lines of when you have a new club, they have to have signatures. How is the signatures process going to be transitioning in an online environment for ICC?
That's a good question. The way I've been doing it in the past is I've been having paper signatures and then transitioning those to like, if they have a paper signature, and I approve those, I approve their submission on Lancer Live based on the confirmation I have on paper. I am not sure how that's going to work online. And that's something that I'm going to talk to Carrie about.
Chris?
Yes.
So for the election, we decided not to go with that because we weren't really sure how to do that. We didn't want people talking to folks. And then we just thought, you know, anyone could just send stuff in. But I think for this, what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to take 10 short emails. You only need 10 people to say, I'm in support of Club X forming. And if they send it from their PCC account, then I'll take it. So they'll just have to send 10 individual emails. And we could give them a template, because quite honestly, it's the same thing, because what I've seen clubs do is they just go up to people and people just sign. So I also think we're all not in, I don't want to have this be a barrier, because I think the more clubs we have, the better. So we'll probably just take an email from an individual.
Any other questions about ICC or any suggestions on how to move this forward or anything? No, yes.
So when clubs want to start having their meetings, I don't know if this applies to this now, but when they want to start having their meetings, are they going to be required to do Zoom meetings and sending us those links, or how are we going to have them function those links? Because I know one of the questions they're going to be asked is, how, like, when are your meetings? But I don't know if there's like a certain way they
So it's planned so that in the ARF, the electronic ARF that's online, they're going to put in that information. Previously in spring, what we did was we had an external Google form that I made clubs fill out. It kind of worked, but because it's external, not part of the ARF process, not everyone did it. But that, benefit of the doubt, we were hit with the situation. But this time around, we're going to go ahead and make that a part of the ARF process on Lancer Live, so that it is on our systems and it is recorded there.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one more comment. I was just wondering, like, given that we talked about last time about how like students don't really like want to have extra clicks when they're finding something, how are we going to, I guess, like show like how to do this to the students?
Yeah, so in the sketches that I have here at the top, definitely is going to be like a little blurb of, well, one half of it is text-based, so people don't want to watch the video, they can just read. It's like, hey, welcome to our virtual club fair. If you're interested, click on this link, sign in with your Lancer Point ID, click on join, and you're done. And we'll have a video formatted version of that too. So I'm trying to cover my bases there and like putting a little thing at the top, just to let students know how to operate the webpage and how to operate Lancer Live real quick. So that's how I anticipate I'm going to solve those issues. But if there's any other concerns or any other ideas on how to best communicate with students, let me know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we going to be like providing Zoom links for all the clubs individually? Because I know like there's a time restraint on like personal.
So the way that's going to work is advisors obviously are PCC staff, so they're going to have access to create, or they already have a CC Confer account. So what will make clubs do if they want like a longer session or paid Zoom features on their meetings is we're going to ask, or they have to anyway, because advisors have to be present. We're going to have to ask their advisors to create the meeting for them, and their advisors to sign in and be present and be hosts of that meeting.
Okay.
But with that said, I know this is a lot, and I want to honor, the rest of the enough time for other discussion items. So if there's any other questions, feel free to email me. But I'm just continually churning this out for everybody, so hopefully it'll work out. And I appreciate again all your support, and I'll send out emails soon for those of you who expressed interest. Stop sharing now.
Thank you, Chris. Let me share my screen real quick. All right, we'll be moving on to discussion item B, planning for fall 2020. I know this is something that we've had on the agenda for a while now, but this is sort of the chance where if anyone wants to continue any conversations or concerns they had from the last few meetings, or if anyone wanted to just get some advice for some events that they have coming forward, because I know we do have Welcome Week, we do have Club Rush, we have a couple of events coming up, so now's the time we can sort of discuss that. And I wasn't fully sure what you guys talked about last meeting too, so I brought it up in case there was one that wasn't finished talking about.
If anyone has something, first I have to pull up the document.
I have a question. for the that what was it? That BRAC meeting that I attended with Christina. Who can we do? We update David on that, or what should we do with the notes that I have from that day?
So generally, any notes that you have from meetings that you attend, such as that one, you would say them during your board reports.
Okay.
And
Actually, Mackenzie, you now have a shared governance piece. If you scroll up on your agenda. Yep. So that's actually the place there that you share what you can either share it under your reports, but it's also fair to share it under shared governance.
The point of that shared governance discussion is that all the committees that we all sit on, that's where we can talk about what you learned and sort of form our AS opinion about what, everything that's going on campus.
And that I could, so once I put it into the report, do I have to specify that I want to include that in the shared governance, or will it just be done automatically by Francis?
You can just say in shared governance, and then Francis will just jot down a gist of what was discussed.
Okay, thanks.
Actually, Emmanuel, if you notice that Francis sends you a PDF, or not a PDF, a link to a Google Doc that says board reports, that's really, you should be typing into those board reports what you need to say, so that way she can get it accurately into the reports in the minutes. And if there are documents that you want to share, make sure you attach them and send them to her so she can send them out within minutes so everyone has them.
Okay, thank you.
And then Alex, did you need me to stop sharing my screen so you could share yours?
No, I just have some, I'm just gonna kind of go through my outline and ask for if there's anything that you guys want to see. So Louise and I have been meeting over the last few weeks to get a rough idea of what we wanted. And so basically we're gonna be having splitting up Welcome Week into like fun ideas and more advice and help for the students and guidance in the first week of school. So something that we thought would be important to have would be a whole Corona forum, which would be walking through students all the resources that they have. So tech services and personal counseling, and have that be pre-recorded video that we can put out to the students. And then we also have live forums, which we wanted to do for counseling, financial aid, and admissions and records, and health and wellness. And then we also have just we wanted to continue supporting different ethnic communities. So we were reaching out to a few Black business owned, a yoga person, or to see if she would be interested in teaching a class, but we have to wait for our budget policy before we go any further with that. And then just fun ideas. So we're 3 in live, not live, but online fun ideas, and then 1 social media contest almost. Is there anything that you guys would like to see, what you guys think students would need in the first week of school?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay, you can go.
I was just gonna say, I've met up with Louise and also kind of tried to discuss a bit about possibly, I think it would be a good opportunity to bring up, I guess, show appreciation for all the athletes, all the nurses, all the programs who could no longer continue due to the COVID, as well as the marching band, kind of recognizing them and, I mean, wishing them well. Hopefully that this COVID stuff isn't restricting us anymore, say, coming to the springtime. I don't know if that idea helps.
Okay. Sorry, I'm typing.
I like the idea that you guys have for the forums right now. I think it'll be helpful for students because they can always use some extra resources. As for the fun aspects of what you want to do online, do you know how you want to like reach out to the students or the kind of contests or events you might want to do? Like if it's movie nights or like what you might be doing for giveaways?
So most of that is dependent on the policy that y'all in the working group are going to be writing, because I don't know how I'm able to spend my money yet or how much money I have to even spend. So until that happens, my hands are kind of tied in like finalizing my ideas. So
I actually have a question. I think Sharon was talking about it in terms of like the ways that we like the timeline we can spend money or something like that. I think you might have said like 6 weeks was the timeline for like having something in before we can spend money, or did I get that wrong?
No, you don't have a timeline per se. It's just to get your event approved. Okay, your budget. Once you establish the budget, it will be from the fall semester all the way until the end of spring semester. But your timeline is just to make sure that you get everything approved that involves that particular event. If it's going to buy stuff from a vendor like Pasadena Promos, we need to get that approved. Make sure we have all the paperwork from them in order for us to get the check. In order for you to get your merchandise in a timely manner. If it's like a person, a speaker, you just need to have the contracts and everything approved within the 6 week period in order for the check to be payable to that particular speaker. We just want to make sure that for a budget, we just want to make sure that your board has to, first of all, the AS board has to approve the budget for your event. Okay, you bring it back to your board and they would approve it. And then that's when you can start processing all your paperwork and everything. So now we are working with, I guess say a timeline as far as getting stuff approved in a timely manner. Okay, so your budget is good for a whole year.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying.
You're welcome.
So Alex, you mentioned you want to have some kind of yoga event with an African-American person who's going to put it on. Would that be over Zoom or would you want that to be in person?
Oh, that would be over Zoom.
Okay, that's what I was figuring.
Yeah, so when Alex and I were planning this, we wanted to obviously like the fun parts. So we wanted to kind of like theme each day kind of to target like activities you can do at home, which is one of them, which is like the yoga, doing physical fitness, or trying something like masterclass, having just a little tutorial for students to come on just to see like what they can do, like cook or like whatever you all think you can, like students will enjoy. That's what we were asking for.
Did anyone else have anything else that they wanted to ask Louise and Alex about this event, or anything they want to say about their own event they may want to be putting on?
So I want to add one more thing. You're talking about a master class with food. I would say if you're going to go your whole angle of talking about different cultures, maybe include like cultural food, possibly relating to the African-American community. That would provide some kind of cultural angle to it for the students coming back in the fall.
Yeah, I believe when we were asking Carrie how we can integrate more ethnic communities with our Welcome Week, she wanted us to be a little bit more broader with our inclusion. And so we were thinking of including one of the Native American clubs and just kind of asking them if they can participate in Welcome Week, as well as I know in the past there have been, there was like an African dance group that showed up that we were thinking, I don't know how we're gonna integrate them, but we were thinking we can reach out to them and see if they can hold like a forum or have like a pre-recorded thing to just talk about like their culture or heritage or something like that. Let me know if there are any resources where we can also look into different groups who can come into Welcome Week.
I had one question. How are you guys going to be kind of like marketing these out to students? I guess, you know, because some students don't have social media, and we have a lot of new students. Because I know usually on campus you guys would be putting out flyers. How do you guys expect to kind of get a lot of people to join in on these Zoom events?
So one of the things that we were going to be doing, since a lot of students are going to be incoming from high school, would be reaching out through Pathways, because I know Pathways is like probably the biggest like way to reach first year students at least. And so that would be like one of our main ways, as well as social media. And like, I think those were like our two big ways of promoting Welcome Week as of now.
I had a question. I think you guys mentioned it was going to be like a Zoom link, unless I heard that wrong.
For
like the events in general, or would it be like would it be like a Zoom link?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So then would they like join and kind of like cook at the same time, or like do those yoga events at the same time as like whoever instructor or like what kind of cultural event that you would be having? Like they would be doing at the same time. Oh,
right. Yeah.
Would it be like a one-day event, or like would it be like a multiple day event? Like how are you planning to separate like the yoga part and like the cooking part?
As of right now, it would be over. Okay, so we have the week, but we want like more, like more informative stuff to be like early on, so the students have access to that information, and then have the classes, the quote unquote master classes, spread out through the week, along with there's going to be I want to do like a trivia activity and like a social media competition over the rest of the week. And then one of the yeah, sorry, I spaced there for a second, but yeah.
Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to ask Louise or Alex about this event, or if anybody wants to bring anything else up that was related to fall planning?
For security, I don't know if maybe it would be a better idea to have a Zoom webinar instead of a meeting that anybody can join. But just throwing it out there, I think maybe for larger scale events, a webinar might be a better idea, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we wanted to also have like a YouTube live along, so like people can look at the resources, and we can also have like the student services that are going to show up have like pre-recorded material that we can put on a website, which is like Lancer Life. And that's kind of where we wanted to be able to get students to access this. Well, I had another question. I forgot. Alex, did you, for the promotion part of the, sorry, I'm using my phone so I can hear myself, and this is so weird. I'm just gonna take it off. So for the promotion of the event, Alex, did you talk about like reaching out to professors? I'm sorry, I spaced out when you were talking about that earlier.
Because I didn't have that on my document, but that's on the main document, and I forgot about it.
Okay, no worries. I think that's where we're gonna ask you for your help for promoting Welcome Week. Just reaching out to professors that you know, or like staff members at PCC who have access to like telling students about it, just because, you know, they'll be the first ones who will be able to contact these students. So yeah, once we get more of a clear schedule and plan, we'll definitely be able to give you something so you can reach out to professors if you guys are okay with that.
Hi. One other thing too about this, about the contacting folks, is that until we have this publicity person and they have a working committee, you all are going to be part of the publicity committee. That's just the way it's going to work. So part of it might be that Alex and Louise will call on some folks to say, hey, can you contact strategic marketing and see if we can get this calendar on the front page, the splash page of the webpage, right? The PCC webpage. Or some of you might be asked to write up a blurb so that we can send it out on Instagram. So just so you all know, until we get, even after we get the publicity person, it's gonna be hard. This, even when you get this publicity person, this person needs to get a committee. This is a lot of work. So like I said, until then, you all consider yourselves part of the AS Publicity Committee. Congratulations, put it on your resume. But yeah, I think it's called teamwork. So don't be surprised if one of these folks reaches out to you and asks you to do something, okay? It's all part of the group.
I have a suggestion for the purpose of publicity. I know the Quest Center sends out like a weekly or monthly newsletter. I think that would be a really, really good idea to have at hand for all of us to distribute, as well as share, right, on whatever either clubs or communities we have on in PCC. I think a newsletter or some type of affiliation with the courier that we can like connect with, because it is really hard. I can see how it's going to be hard to connect with everyone on that's incoming, that has been that hasn't really been active in club or campus activities. So I think a newsletter with like with just links that they can click on really, really help, that can facilitate everything that we have, just so we're not kind of like overdoing it and we have it on one doc. Maybe having something like that.
So technically our PR person is supposed to be sending newsletters to the courier, but they haven't really been doing that for the past few years, so yeah.
I think for right now, depending on what workload people have, if there are folks who are interested in doing that, I think it's a great idea. I think Chris does a really great job of sending out his newsletter once a week to ICC folks. And we use a system called MailChimp, and we're willing to pay more. So we're willing to pay more to double our resources, right? So I think we can definitely do that. And if someone wants to come up, be responsible with coming up with content, and it doesn't have to be a lot. That's the nice thing I love about the Quest Center. It's colorful, it's splashy, and it's not a lot of content. Chris has to be content rich because he needs to communicate certain things. But I think that would be great, because then also we could put our agenda items on there, right? So people know that it's happening. So Jasmine, I don't want to volunteer you, but if you want to get someone, if some folks want to get together and just like collect content. And then the other thing would be to contact, Jessica, names go so fast. Jessica from last year, because we have a sign-up list, folks who follow us, and we'll just transfer that sign-up list to Chris. We can just transfer that sign-up list to
yeah, just bulk import. And MailChimp is great because if people don't want to receive emails anymore, it will it's automated. They can press unsubscribe, it'll automatically take them off the list. If they're not opening your emails, you can see that off the list too, so you're not wasting resources by sending too many emails out. So if you need help on MailChimp, let me know. I'm pretty good with it after last year.
So I will actually take up that task, and I do need some help with MailChimp. I've never worked with that before, but I can do it. I can try to work the newsletter and have it out maybe before fall, so that we have, or before welcome week, so that we have kind of like the schedule on there. We have resources. We have any Instagram handles that would be helpful for students to follow on their first year of being at PCC and stuff like that. I think that would really help us get that best foot forward to start the semester. So I'll definitely start on that.
Great. Thank you for that, Jasmine. I know that'll be really helpful for all of us.
Continuing with the theme of planning, the progress on those applications, when are we planning to have the next committee? Just because I know I sit on the business services hiring committee, so I want to know what the next steps are in that process.
For appointing all of you to the committees?
Or no, for like reviewing those applications and setting up interviews.
For those we're working within our working groups, we have the doodles. Don't know. I'll double check if it went out, but we'll be working within our working groups and we'll be establishing times within those when all of us are available. So whoever's sitting in on the PR one, we'll all put together our schedule, see when we can schedule our interviews and go over the applications. That way we make sure that each of us are sitting in on all the interviews, because if you can't make it to one interview, you can't go to any of them. But for that, we'll be working on it on the side outside of these meetings since they're below quorum. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Did I answer?
Mackenzie, add me, and will you please add Jordan and I to the doodle list, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did anybody else have any comments or questions in regard to planning?
So
I have one more question. Sorry. Alex, what kind of IG event did you mention, or did you have in mind?
We were gonna do like a kind of like a PCC, like dress your pet up in PCC colors. Something fun.
For sure. Maybe a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, that was one of the other ideas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you all know some other things that come up during fall that probably need to be on folks' radar. So Kelly, I'm glad you mentioned Constitution Day. We have to do that. Obviously, Welcome Week. Also, next week we will have someone joining us, Sheila Rose. She's going to talk to us that there's a social justice career fair, which is going to be week 4. So we'll be mildly kind of peripherally involved with that. But also start thinking about events that happen, normal events that we usually talk about. I know, Jasmine, you and I are going to talk because we're trying to set up a virtual Day of the Dead altar to honor people who passed, especially from COVID, because I don't think we've had time to sit and collectively mourn either the folks that we've lost or the things that we've lost, the opportunities that we've lost. Emmanuel, we generally do something around some sort of sustainability thing. I would suggest that you think, because I know you're interested in working with the food pantry, we can still talk about doing a virtual canned food drive or maybe a cash canned food drive or something to get folks and clubs involved. Louise, you've got a lot going on and I'm really sorry. We probably should do something to think about. I want you to make contact. I don't know if the Child Development Center is ever going to come back, so we don't have to worry about trick or treat, so that's good. But you need to start thinking about midterm relaxation weeks, finals relaxation week. Who else haven't I hit up? And all of you at this point, Mackenzie, did you send them all applications for their committees?
Yeah.
So you all need to be cleaning up those applications, because we need to put those out, because Christina, you need to recruit people to sit on these committees and be there. Same thing with you, Kyle. You got to start finding folks who want to be there. And then Alex, I don't know if you want to consider, we used to do, of course, we would do homecoming. We now have no fall sports. So I don't know if you want to do October, November Spirit Week that still celebrates and honors our athletes and our band who can't participate, but maybe does something. And then Jasmine, the usual, I mean, there's so much coming up. You can do Day of the Dead. we can do Native American around Thanksgiving, right? Emmanuel, you live next to Hahamanga. You and Jasmine could collab on maybe doing a video of the watershed to honor the Native American folks that were there, right? And share that with folks. So these are things that I want you to start thinking about, because a lot of these things don't cost money, but some of these things will cost money. And that's how we start then kind of fleshing out what your budgets will be. So did I miss anyone in terms of Kelly? You've got a bunch of stuff. We got to start talking about not travel, but teleconference and getting people. All of you need to be, if you haven't edited that application, that should be on the top of your priority list, because you have to get good people out there. Okay. So just put that in your mind for fall. Sorry.
Carrie, I had a question. I was just wondering if it would be possible to kind of combine Constitution Day and like a voter registration day, or do you think if I should just combine it? Yeah, because I feel like if I make a big deal about one, they're not going to come to the other one. If I make a big deal about both, they're not going to want to come to either. Yeah.
Yes. Also, I think for you, it's important that you look at some important deadlines. Last day to register. If you're doing vote by mail, it's 2 weeks to send it in. So last day to drop your stuff and vote by mail is, I believe, the 20th. And we also need to maybe talk about where the polling places are, because you can actually physically go walk in and drop off your ballot if people are freaked out about the whole mail, US mail, whatever.
Yeah.
So timelining. Start thinking about where these things are, because probably the next thing we're going to do on the next meeting, we'll probably have time for fall, but I'm probably going to ask you to do a timeline.
I see.
Everyone's stuff Mackenzie will have one long timeline, and we'll start placing stuff there.
Got it. Yeah, I was planning to do it like 3 days before the actual turning in, but I guess I don't know. I figured out to see if that's too soon or too early. Yeah.
Did anybody else have an item that they wanted to bring up during this planning discussion?
Oh, yeah, I just had one last thing in regards to equity. I did want to set up a Black and Brown, or another Black and Brown unity event. I think that I have some ideas that I left off in spring that I would like to bring to life during fall. So that's something that I'm brainstorming on for the fall too.
Sounds like a good idea. Definitely make sure you're connected with Matt, the Cross Cultural Center, to see if there's anything that you guys can do together, or if you may need some extra help, you may have some resources.
Awesome.
I know in a previous meeting, I think Louise created the document of all of the planning items. So I think maybe it's a good idea to then put all of these ideas on that planning document, so that we're all in sync with timelines and ideas and all that.
Thank you, Chris. I'll go ahead and share that doc, the calendar, along with so that I can kind of merge that into the newsletter as well. So I'll go ahead and draft that out, and then that's how I'll create the newsletter. So I can include the dates, I can include any upcoming events or deadlines.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, just what I like generally about my newsletters is that it kind of does help keep me personally on track too, just because, planning all these things and doing all these things, you have so many different pieces of information. It's helpful to funnel it down into one place where people can access that information and have it. So.
And I'm sorry, it just went out of my head. Never mind.
Well, while you remember, just Jasmine, I know you're smart and intelligent and an incredible woman, but you might want to just contact Gina Lopez and Pablo from Puente, so you might want to get their students involved in that event as well.
I remember what I needed to ask Chris. Hey, Chris, this calendar, can we establish it either, I don't know if it can be an API token or an RSS feed, because Jordan is working with Michael Eric to create kind of an events page or a minutes page. So that way, whatever's on that calendar can then just be transferred to an events page.
Yeah, I mean, it should be possible. I don't see why not. I think as long as we're adding our events into a calendar service that can synchronize, it should be fine.
Okay. So there's that one thing. And then the other thing too is also, I know we haven't talked about programming. I'll try and hit that up on Friday. I think we've been trying to cover other things, but now I think we'll get down to the nitty gritty of how is this actually going to work, because all of you will have to do what's called an ARF, activity request form. And I will review that on Friday. So you know how to get your stuff on a calendar.
Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to throw in at the last minute before we move on to the next item?
I have a question. So do I have to CC anyone when I'm emailing people off campus? For example, like I've been collecting information on like potential donors, reaching out to Salvation Army to get microwaves and a few other appliances that I think would be possible on their part. Do I have to tag anyone, or I mean CC anyone whenever I do that, or can I just go ahead without all the freedom possible?
So, Manuel, I think it would be a good idea to either CC me or Carrie or both, or even Becky too, because if there's something that you don't understand about legalities and all that stuff, like we can just chime in and be like, hey, so this sounds like a really good idea. However, it needs to go through student business services or purchasing. So that way you're not like, oh, you know what I mean? So that way we can help you as best as possible. So that's what I would suggest. Carrie, I don't know if you would suggest anything else.
I agree with that, but actually I would prefer that you discuss it with one of the advisors first, because we need to make sure that you're keeping to the mandate that you were elected to do as sustainability. And also it's you're not acting as an individual. Remember, you're part of this team. So part of this also has to be coming back to your group, because you're not representing just yourself, you're representing the whole group. So that type of thing, really, let's have a discussion about that. And like I said, I just sent out the doodle. So let's set up select standing meetings for everybody. So that way you bring that up in the standing meeting, and also those types of things should be reported out during your reports about what you're doing. So really, it shouldn't come as a surprise. I appreciate knowing in advance, especially if you're emailing outside folks, because I don't want to get a phone call and they say, I don't know what this is. So just as a courtesy, you don't have to always CC me, but just let me know, hey, Carrie, I'm moving forward on this project, and I just need to kind of, and I just want to know that it's moving forward. So that way when the dean or someone calls me and says, what's going on, I can answer.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If we have no further discussion on this item, then we'll move on quickly. Did anybody have anything else they want to throw in? Okay, we'll move on to discussion item C, AS training. Carrie, Jordan, did we have anything that we want to do for our AS training here?
We do, but before we, as part of the AS training, part of it is that Chris is going to be up. He's going to finish up the technology piece, because we all need to be able to know how to do Zoom and stuff like that. But before we do, I'd like to, as part of your training, you all requested to kind of a introduction to all the office staff. You've met Sharon, you've met, you've all met Lindsay, right? Yeah. So I'd like to introduce Chanina. Chanina, can you unmute? Do you have a video, Chanina? I know she's on this. Let me call her and let her know. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Chanina, we can't hear you. We can see her, but we can't hear her.
Yeah, she's having problems with her phone, so she's going to come to my office and she'll talk to you, introduce herself. Sharon, let's also have Sharon. Can you talk really quickly, briefly about requisitions? I want you to hear about money, so it's just not always me. You're muted, Sharon. You're muted, Sharon. I'm yelling at her and she's in the office next to me.
Okay. Okay, see, I can see this form. Some of you have probably seen this form. This is the form you would use to get the money. The finances part of your of the money part to pay someone. Okay, we're in the process of updating our requisition forms, and you would need to fill this out and attach to all proper paperwork, like a contract, an invoice, in order to get any type of funds, money. You need to fill it out and have the signatures, which would be Mackenzie and your vice president of business affairs and your advisor or the dean. You would complete it. It's very easy to complete, and you just have to put a lot of details in it. And as long as you fill it out completely and everything's approved, you have no problem getting the funds. We just ask that it's done in a very timely manner. That's all. You have any questions? I'd be happy to send you these. Get them out to you guys. Send you a sample of one. And that's it. But it has to be filled out very accurately, and we've got to get the signatures. Okay? And that's Shanina. Hi, Shanina.
Oh, hey.
Welcome back.
So if you all don't have any questions about requisitions, I'll let Shanina introduce herself and we can go on to Chris.
Because I thought we was redoing these, Carrie.
Hello, I'm Chalina, and I always worked with AS before with the activity request. I did everything, I kept it all, but now everything's changed so much. It's really altered, so I'm not sure what capacity. I also helped out with the publicity committee as advisor and stuff, so kind of filled in for substitute advising, and except for publicity. I pretty much did that one. So I keep track of things in the front and all the paperwork, but I'm not sure how things will evolve this semester because it all caught us last semester. Everything stopped and stuff. So, and then now we're still doing everything like online and what have you. So, but I'll still be doing different things and working on projects and working on with you guys, however Carrie needs, whatever Carrie needs help with. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. I know with Chris, I know him from last semester, and I've been forwarding him things. People ask about constitutions and club packaging. I just reviewed the last of the clubs that were trying to get registered, and I got them approved, approve that and move on. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And that's pretty much it right now.
How can we contact you, Ms. Shanina?
You can email me at tlsturgis at pasadena.edu. I'm also usually the one that responds to the basic questions through the student life email for people ask questions and everything. Right now, the majority of their questions on where do I get my cap and gown still, and when do I get my MetroPass refund. But we also get questions on clubs and what have you. And so because the process has changed, I've kind of just deferred the questions to Chris so that he can be aware of what's going on and who's asking what questions. So it's nice to see a couple of familiar faces, Mackenzie and Jasmine and Chris.
Hi, Janina. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, Jordan. Love the hat.
Thanks.
So good to see you, Ms. Shanina.
You too.
We miss you.
I bet you guys miss the office being in here, Mackenzie.
Miss my desk.
So that's pretty much it. See what happens as things go on. Ugh. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Who's sustainability? Okay. They had this thing I got, Emmanuel. It seems kind of cool, but it's a countrywide thing where they work on projects, different schools and universities. I think it's called Project Green. I don't know if Carrie's seen it too.
Said Project Green?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll look them up. Thank you.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Oh, that's better.
You have
Yeah,
any interest in reaching out and being friends with other schools and what have you.
Yeah, that collective actually also manages their community gardens, different community gardens, and something that we have established at PCC as well. I don't know if Emmanuel wants to talk a little bit about the aquaponics system.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say, if anyone has any food scraps, such as like romaine lettuce, radishes, onions, the list goes on, please save them. We have space to plant them at the community garden that First handles, the First Club. And there's a solar powered hydroponic system, and Dr. Hatch is in the works of putting some fish in there as well to help the process. And we've really just been cleaning it up and getting it back to life since COVID kind of interrupted everyone who was involved there already. I've just been trying to, as well as Jasmine, we try to go and water the garden every other day or whenever anyone's available. Just try to keep an eye and maintain it a bit. Facilities has assisted us a little bit, as well as campus police has showed up and just they're surprised that someone's cleaning it and actually maintaining it. So we're not really causing any trouble there at all. Everyone's pretty welcoming and people are glad to see that that process. So if anyone's welcome, anyone has any time, everyone's welcome to go ahead and, go and plant something. Just stuff it there. And there's, like I said, it's on a water bed and grow your own food.
Wow, that's good. Okay, well, I'm gonna head out now, let Carrie come back, and it was nice talking to you guys, and I'll forward you that thing. Maybe Jasmine's familiar with it too, and go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, was nice. Goodbye, everybody. Hopefully we'll see each other again here one day. Okay. There you go. All right, Chris, do you want to hit with the technology piece?
Yeah, we have 15 minutes left, so I don't know how much realistically we can do, but definitely not all of it. So I guess we can just continue to chip away at it.
Yeah, can folks stay, or do you all have to leave at 2?
I can stay.
Can we do like another 15 minutes?
Yeah, we won't get to the streaming part of it, but I can just do the other stuff that leads up to that, I guess.
Well, let's wait and make sure. Can everyone do it?
Yeah, is everyone in front of the computer and stuff? Okay. All right, let me share my screen and get started. So, again, it's a computer within a computer, but don't worry about that. So first thing we're going to do is personalize our Google accounts or ASPCC Gmail accounts so that it has our photos and stuff. David so graciously, again, thank you, David, took photos of everybody and he uploaded it into a Google Drive. I'm gonna post that link in the chat now so you can like directly click on it and download your photo, but I'm gonna do that right now. Just gonna download something real quick just to sample it. And then once it's downloaded, we'll go back to your Gmail settings. But I'm just gonna wait for everyone to download it first. But when you're all good, just let me know. Just to thumbs up or yes in chat. I know some of you have did already, and I appreciate your initiative, but this is for those of you who didn't. So we all good with our photos? I think if some of them might need cropping, I guess I can just do that now on my end real quick, just so it's clean. There you go. Crop. Save. There you go. All right, is everyone good with their pictures downloading in and whatnot? Yeah, okay. So on your Gmail inbox or pretty much any Google page, you can click on your profile picture and then manage your Google account. And then next we're going to, on the left side here, where your screen is smaller, it might be at the top, hit data and personalization. Oh no, sorry, personal info, got it mixed up. And then right here is where you can click photo, and then you can upload a photo from your computer. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we can also crop it in here too if it didn't do a good job cropping it earlier, and then you're gonna set it as your picture. So there you go, it's updated. So is everybody good on uploading their photo to Google? Yeah. Okay. Next thing is we're going to customize the Zoom photo, because I know I think one person asked about that. So I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we're going to log into Zoom. Again, the link to log in is just zoom.us. And then Zoom is actually pretty simple. There's no extra clicks. Once you're signed in, you're just going to hit change, or you can hit this like generic photo that it created for you. And you're just going to upload the same picture from earlier. And yeah, I think you can also crop it here, but we don't need it really. There you go. Hit save. And that's it. One last thing on our account personalization before we move on to the next thing is going back to Gmail, is to make sure our the name that's our emails are coming from are capitalized and it looks professional and stuff. So there on your Gmail settings, you're gonna hit the cog. You're gonna hit see all settings, and then under accounts and import, you're gonna edit your info and make sure it's like capitalized here, like your first and your last name or whatever name you prefer to go by. You can change it by filling in this blank box and hit save changes, so that whenever you're sending email, again, your name shows up properly capitalized and everything.
Chris, can you go back to the Zoom set?
Yeah, Zoom settings.
Yeah, okay, so this is the other thing. If you notice my name, it's Carrie Fuso, and I've got my preferred gender pronouns. We haven't talked about our preferred gender pronouns yet, but for those of you that do know what they are, and if you want to add them, you can. What I did is I put my name, first name is Carrie Fuso, my last name as my gender identities.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you change that.
So if you want to add that, and that's also something we can talk a little bit more about, but if you're aware of what they are and you know what yours are, I do encourage you to put them in.
So that's pretty much it for account personalization. Is everyone good? I know I kind of blew through that, but I want to make sure I'm cognizant of everybody's time. We're good? Okay. So next thing we're going to do is import a bunch of contacts, and don't worry, I have a file ready for you all. So I'm going to paste that Google Drive link download in chat so you all can get there. I'm going to close out all this so we can have a fresh slate. But when you get to that page, it should look something like this, just like a really long, random looking Excel sheet. Don't worry about that. Just hit download. And then once it's downloaded, we're going to go to our Google Contacts page for ASPCC Gmail. I'm going to put that link in the chat as well, so you can just hit there and go directly to that website. But I'm gonna wait here until everybody can download that file. Are we all good with that little CSV file? It's not too big, but I know some people's internets are slow, so if you need time, let me know. Are we all good? Do we have that file on our downloads folder or somewhere where we can find it again? Yes? Yeah? Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do obviously is we're going to import that file. So just hit import and then you can just select no label because I already created the labels for you in that file, but select file and upload that file and hit import. And it might take a while for the page to load, but just let it finish. But once it's done, you should have a really super long list of email addresses. And so what these email addresses are, I took the org chart that's on a PCC website and basically distilled it down to a long list of contacts, but I labeled all the contacts. So we need to communicate with anybody in Board of Trustees. You can go in the sidebar here and just index them real quick. And these are all the OSL staff. So they're all pre-labeled and they're all pre-done for you. But the great thing about this is I know sometimes we need to send kind of board, like we need to send emails to the rest of the board. What you can do in Gmail now, once you've uploaded all those contacts, is a pretty neat trick. You can go ahead and type AS Board 2020-21, and it will automatically fill in all those email addresses for you right away without you having to type anything else. This goes for anything. So if you need to contact, I don't know, for whatever reason, you know, the entire Board of Trustees, you can go ahead and type BOT, and then you have all those emails pre-filled in right then and there. It's like a quick macro, so you don't have to go through and search for everybody and look for their names. And this goes for anybody's name. So like if you forgot Shanina's email, you can just search for her and then she comes up and you just hit her name and she auto-populates right there. So that's Google Contacts. Does anyone have any trouble with that, or did everybody get those contacts imported? Yeah. Okay, sounds good. And if you need that file, just send me an email and I can send you a copy because I know this chat isn't saved on your computers. But that's pretty much it. The next steps is going to go into streaming instructions. So I think that's going to take a while. So I feel like maybe it's best that we save that for Friday. Carrie, what do you think?
Okay. How much, I mean, because I think everyone's committed to go until 2:15.
2:15?
Is there something else that you need to cover?
No, that's pretty much it. I would also maybe advise for you before you start sending out emails to people with your new signatures is to make sure that your booking links are working. Because I'm human, I might have made an error when I was creating your signatures in the code. So make sure those links are going to places that it's meant to be, like your Calendly link. Make sure when you click email that it's like emailing that person and everything. Just send emails back and forth to each other, make sure it's working. But other than that, I think it shouldn't take too long to start the setup for it, but the actual like teaching of streaming might take a while, so I can do the setup, but not like the actual doing part, if you all are ready. We good to continue? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do before we download anything or sign into anything is that we're going to create a new Chrome profile. So Chrome, as you know, if you have multiple Google accounts and you click on the icon in the top right, you can sign into different accounts, but that gets kind of confusing. And I don't like that personally. and it's going to not really work for the way we're doing things with our sign-in credentials and stuff. So what you're going to do, you're going to click the little profile icon in the upper right, and then you're going to hit add, and it should bring up like a new like profile creation page. So what this is basically like how you have multiple accounts on your computer, like a person can sign in and then, you know, your brother can sign in or whatever after you log out. This is the same idea, except it's working in Chrome. So this is going to be like your Chrome like work profile. So all work related stuff should be done on this profile. So it's separated from your personal Google account and you don't have to click sign in and mess around with all that in the upper right corner from now on. So I'm going to call this Chris work or whatever. Doesn't matter which profile picture you choose because it's going to be overwritten. You can create a desktop shortcut if you want. But then after that, I'm going to click add. Your screen might look a little bit different, but there should be the same like add or, you know, produce new user button or something like that somewhere. But once you add the new user, you should get to this new like, you know, welcome page, which is great. It's where we want to be. So once you're here, you're going to sign in with your ASPCC account. I'm going to do that right now. Enter my password. Two-factor turned on, so I'll just go there. But once you've signed in and go through all the rigmarole, it's going to ask you to turn on sync, and you're just going to click yes. You definitely do want to turn that on so that everything is synchronized across all your profiles. So is everybody at like this clean kind of Chrome page here, Chrome profile with their work account attached?
Wait, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, when you did add account, exactly what did you do again?
When the Chrome profile, I clicked on the picture in the upper right and I clicked add. And
Oh, so it's not the one that's actually in the site. It's like on the bar.
yeah, it's on the bar. It's not on the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's in like the URL bar right next to it. So if you notice now the little Chrome icon in the taskbar, like they have pictures next to them. So now you can differentiate between like your personal one and like your work one. And you can pin these two if you want. So are we all good with that? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Again, stop me because I am going pretty fast because I want to make sure we complete this before our time runs out. But once everyone is here, I want you to download a Chrome extension next. I'm going to paste that link into the chat so you can copy and paste that into Chrome. And we're going to download 1Password, which is the password manager we're going to use to sign into all of our streaming accounts and gain access to all that information. So once you're at like the Chrome like App Store, you can just click add extension, and just give it a minute while it's like downloading and installing and everything. And then it should bring you to like a sign in welcome page for that like extension. So we're gonna hit sign in. And what you're going to do next is you're going to sign in with the email and secret key and the master password that was created when Carrie asked you to create those accounts. So if you need to run and get it and grab it somewhere, feel free to do that. I'm gonna blank my screen out for a second here so I can enter in my secret key so you all don't have that, but I will sign in with mine. But once you're done, it should look like this. Again, just like a welcome screen. I'm gonna give a minute for everyone to get here because I know it might take a while to get that information. And if you lost it, don't worry. You can email Carrie, and Carrie is the administrator of our account, so she can reset anybody's password. So are we all good? Do we all sign in? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay. So are we good to move on? I'll go ahead and just move along here then. So next thing we're going to do is pin the extension to our Chrome toolbar. So you're just gonna click the little puzzle piece and hit pin. So it's like it's always up there. And once it's up there, if you click on it now, Carrie should have given you, mine is different because she gave me access to different things, but now you should have access to a bunch of accounts. So these are the passwords and usernames for those accounts. So let's say I want to sign in to the Publicity Zoom, which you will need eventually to start streaming your meetings. So if I want access to that, I'm gonna hit the Zoom Publicity and hit go. And you'll automatically fill in those details without me having to type in anything. If you don't see anything, you might have to click this and click all items. Sometimes it just goes to suggestions, which might not always be helpful. So if you click this little like menu bar here and click all items, it should show you like a flat view of everything you have access to. So if I want to go to Zoom and sign in with Publicity, I just go there and I'm signed in.
I haven't assigned any of them Zooms, so do I need to go in right now and assign them to Zooms?
Did you give them permission to sign into Zoom?
I don't think so.
Okay, you might have.
Let me do that now. Okay.
Yeah, so Carrie, again, as the administrator, has access to every account. So she might have to give you, she might have to like a Google Doc, she might have to share access to that account for you if you don't have it. So if anything is missing, let her know, and she as the administrator should give you access to those accounts. But the things I want to highlight here before we stop for today is some of these like notes and images that we have. And the important ones are this right here. So this is the Dropbox for agendas. So whenever you create an agenda, she wants you to upload it to a Google Drive folder so that it's all archived for the future. So what you can do whenever you're done with an agenda is go to this like little note, hit copy, hit paste to Google Drive. And then now you're in this folder directly for the agendas for all committees that you can go ahead and upload stuff to. So that's like an example of a secure note that's important. Another one that's important is like streaming notes. So if you are ever confused about how to stream and I'm not there to help you, I mean, eventually I'll train you, but not today because we don't have enough time. You can go ahead and go to this URL and it brings you directly to like a little Google Doc with all the instructions on how to, and it has images and everything like step-by-step on how to stream, where to click, what to do, like flow charts and stuff. So if you're ever stuck, you can go there as a kind of a life preserver and just click on that link and follow the steps. Again, it's like highlighted, it's all annotated, so it's there for you. Another secure note that's important is this kind of flow chart that I have, like a little JPEG. So this is the process of how we're going to stream stuff. So if you're more of like a visual person, you might want to take a look at this instead of the Google Doc, because that's all wording. Let me open it in something else. But this is like the flow chart of then how you're going to stream, like part 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, yada, 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 whatever. But that's pretty much it. So essentially what this little extension becomes like a little hub for all of your work resources. You can then use that to access like Google Drive folders that are important to save agendas to. Whenever you need to sign into Zoom or like a paid Zoom account for your meetings, you go here. You can also search. So if you don't want to like dig through stuff, you can be like agendas, like it'll come up with that. So that's pretty much it. So pretty much you don't have to type anything. It's just a couple clicks away at most for these things. If you have any issues, like you forgot your password or your secret key, or you don't have access to an account that you need access to, let Carrie know so she can give you that access. Last thing too about security is like if you're using this on a computer that you share maybe with your family or something, it's actually okay because 1Password will automatically lock after 10 minutes of like you not using it, and it'll ask you to type in your like secret, your master password again. So that's okay. But the issue comes, it's like whenever you get a new computer, or you're trying to use a different computer, yeah, you can sign into Chrome and stuff, but just be careful to where you sign in because again, it basically uses your password and has all the passwords that we use under that. So just be wary of that. Like 1Password does have a way to sign in on a shared computer and stuff, but you have to be very particular in how you sign out and how you sign back in so that your credentials aren't saved on there. So I recommend just using like one computer for work and one Chrome profile for work whenever you have to do work related stuff. So that's pretty much it. If there's any questions about anything at all, I can answer them now, or you can email them.
The other thing is, can you blow up this schematic and let's review, because I think we need to understand the steps. And at a certain point, we have to show them how to schedule an actual Zoom meeting.
Okay, do you want to save that for Friday because we have like 5?
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll save how to schedule a meeting, but I do want you to review this. I think you can do that in a couple minutes, just briefly.
Yeah, and again, if you need access to this document, you can always go back to that link, the streaming
notes, isn't it?
Streaming notes, yeah. If you go here and go to that link, you'll bring you directly to this Google Drive document. So just review it. Essentially on Friday, we can do like a live walkthrough of all this, of what I put down here. But if you want to like review it first before I teach you, feel free to take a look at this and yeah, walk through it yourself. But the flow chart here, if you want to take a look at it, it's all of these blue squares I'm going to demonstrate for you all on Friday. Don't worry about board docs. Don't worry about Instagram. Those are going to be handled by our secretary and our PR person exclusively. So just look at part 4B and just go from there. So if there's any questions, let me know. I know the document might have some missing pieces. I'm still filling that in as, as I find new information, but if there's any questions or any help you need, let me know and I can go ahead and help you individually. I'm gonna stop sharing for now. But that was it. I know that was a lot and I went through it pretty quickly, more than usual, because I know we have to wrap up, but thank you all for sticking with me and all that.
So homework, all of you need, because you all have a Zoom account, and most Zoom accounts are for 45 minutes. So if you want to use that account, I mean, that makes sense. But I've given you all permission to use the publicity account, which will let you have longer meetings, right? That's kind of unlimited time. So your homework before Friday is to hop on Zoom and understand how to schedule, play around, figure out how to schedule, figure out how to set up a virtual background, figure out how to set your name and your picture and all of that, and play around with that. So that way you're familiar when he shows you how to do it on Friday, okay? All right. That's it for today. We're done with item 6C.
Mackenzie, you're muted.
All right. Sorry. So we have a lot of committees to put you guys down on, but since we are running out of time, most of these can wait until August 21st, but we do have one that we need to send in by the 7th. So we'll get that one in now, and then I can just bring up for next meeting the rest of the committees. So we need someone for the Chief Diversity Officer hiring committee. They're asking for at least one student rep, but we can send in more. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer to sit in on that?
Mackenzie, can I explain what that's going to be?
Yes.
So that's a hiring committee. I'm actually, I think I'm on that as well. So the thing with the hiring committee is it may not always be convenient to your schedule, but if you agree to be on there, you have to agree to go to all of the meetings because it's a hiring thing. So if you can't make all the meetings, they may or may not let you continue on. So it's making sure that the student voice is there. And preferably if we can have 2 of you, that would be really strong. Unfortunately, at this point, we don't know what the times are.
On that note, can I get 2 volunteers for this so I don't have to sit in on all these committees?
Actually, Mackenzie, this is a good one if you sat on this one.
Yeah.
I'll volunteer myself. Jasmine to volunteer herself.
All right. Is there anybody else who wanted to be a part of this one, or are you guys gonna wait for a later one?
Mackenzie, if it's you and Jasmine, I think that's kind of it.
Okay.
If there's an alternate, if someone really wants to do it, we can put that person down as an alternate.
Then should I do the rest of the committees now, or should I bring it back next week? Because we've got like 12 committees.
If you've got another time, or you can also email those out to everyone and they can look and see which ones they want. And then next week they can just tell you.
I'll email them then.
And let me tell you all got to sit on a committee. So you better pick one and let Mackenzie know early. That way your vote is in first.
And also, some of you guys are gonna want to check the Constitution because there are some that you are required to sit in on. So I would check in on those too. That way you're ready to let me know which committees you want to be on. I mean, I'll still check too, but let me know which ones you're required to be on and which ones you would like to be a part of. That way we can schedule everyone in. All right. On that note, we'll move on to bill acceptance. Kelly, do we have anything?
Sorry, I was trying to find the mute button. Yeah, no, we don't have any at the moment.
All right. To public comment on non-agenda items. I believe we still have no public. Then moving on to announcements. Does anybody have an announcement? All right, hearing none. Future meeting day is at August 12th, 2020. Agenda items will be due by August 6th. All right. And on that note, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 2:13 p.m. Can I get a first?
I second that motion.
All right, first by David, second by Kyle. I'm gonna bring this to a vote based off the orders I see on screen. David.
Aye.
Jasmine.
Aye.
Kyle.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Emmanuel.
Aye.
Luke.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Jasmine. Oh wait, no, I got Jasmine right. Alex.
Aye.
And Christina.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. I'll stop sharing the screen. And then just wait a minute for YouTube to catch up before we end this. It's a great meeting, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. I know we're all tired. I know I am.
So David, can you just stay on for a little bit so we can talk about